right into it. You know what I mean? And as
Yeah.
challenging as it is, that hard conversation, that hard situation, the other side of it is beauty and growth. So why not do it?
Well, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Episode 37. We're going to be talking about burdens. And Brian, what you were just talking about, the only way out is through.
Absolutely.
100%. So we're going to kick off the episode with talking about burdens and how burdens are actually blessings. And so many people have such a skewed understanding of challenges in their life. I'm going to start off by saying God is the author of your life. That means everything you experience is already written out, for lack of a better term, right?
Hmm.
We as humans get wrapped up in our own misery by trying to control everything.
Hmm.
And burdens are there to actually teach us, which is why they're a blessing. Because you wouldn't develop into the person God wanted you to become unless you experienced the challenges that life has to offer.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I think more people need to dig deep within and understand that.
Well, I think the thing is, especially like life now in the present day has become so built around comfort to make shit easy, right? And, don't get me wrong. I love, doing things that are enjoyable. Not that challenging stuff isn't enjoyable to me, but doing things that are enjoyable, that are comfortable and fun and all that good stuff. But the thing is if that's all you do, you never grow and life never changes, right? That's why I always tell people I'm like, be willing to face the hard shit more than the other. So it's like I say, feed that good wolf a little bit more than the bad, and then life will change, right? So it's facing those challenges head on, um, no matter what they are, because they're all there, never to hinder you, only to grow you. I always tell people the mantra I use is everything's always working out for my highest good, right? So no matter what it is, something pops up, I'm like, this is literally here to move me. So I tell people like, say you have your job and you've had it for 20 years and you all of a sudden lose it. That is the universe's way of moving you to a better life. Something's being removed to move you up, right? But most of the time people's minds are like, "Oh my God, like life's going against me. I can't believe it." No, it's not. It's really not. It's actually trying to get you to where you need to be.
Well, I think that's the trick of life is that we tend, and I'm guilty of it myself, is we tend to get so hung up on the challenge that we can't see past it. So
Exactly.
then we create an attachment to our own misery
Absolutely.
instead of acknowledging the challenge and being like, what is, like we talk about all the time, what is this supposed to teach me?
Yeah, 100%. And that's all it is, just trying to teach us, trying to grow us. Because again, like, people like Dolores Cannon and some of these others, like spiritual teachers that were here, they used to say this is a school of earth. I still hear people say that school of earth. So we come here to learn, grow, and expand, right? Yes, we come here to experience the human experience and get to use our five senses and we get to enjoy things, good food, making love, like wonderful things, but you still have to face these other things to grow, right? Because no matter what, like you can get your life set like externally. You can have all the material wealth, you can have all the things you want. Challenges are still going to come. Someone's going to get sick, someone's going to die, like this unexpected death, this unexpected loss, like whatever it is. So if you're willing to prepare yourself by facing challenge, even like that's why I tell people like the smallest, put yourself in something hard every day, put yourself in a hard workout every day, sit in a meditation, which to me is beautiful, but a lot of people it's hard because they're like, I can't get my mind to calm down, or just sitting with themselves. Like I did that. I told you I did that wellness weekend recently, and one of the first questions I always ask people is, who in this room can sit in a room for an hour by themselves with no distraction, zero distraction, no phone, no noise, no people, no nothing, just you and your thoughts. And people are like, oh, like people get uncomfortable from that question, and a lot of them are like, I've never done it. I'm like, that's the point. If you can't sit with yourself, that's a problem.
Dude, that's the entire point of life. That's the whole story right there. If you can, your greatest adversary is yourself.
Hmm.
If you can sit in a room alone in complete silence Your mind, it's just like starting meditation. Like when I first started meditation, my mind would just go 1,000 miles an hour. Or
Hmm.
when you're trying to go to sleep at night and you're laying in bed, and you're like, I can't sleep because at the end of the day, you're thinking about all the crap you have messed up throughout the day or
Hmm.
all the stuff you're worried about tomorrow.
Hmm.
Burdens are there as the forge God uses to make you to who he wants you to become.
Hmm.
And so it's up to us to recognize that and to like we said before is to God will steer the boat but you must row.
Absolutely.
I've struggled with lust, I've struggled with alcohol, I've struggled with pride, I've struggled with ego, and then now
Dude,
where
it's
I'm at
called.
now, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Keep
I was
on
going to
talking.
say now where I'm at in my life, I am a totally different creation from that time because God blessed me enough to make me see it. A lot of people don't see. You see the issue, you see the challenge, but you don't see what it's trying to develop you into.
A lot of people see it and just don't give a shit. Why? Because again, it's more comfortable to keep the
It's almost
false
like an
comfort or
illusion.
the false comfort around. Yeah, it's more comfortable. It's false comfort, right? It's more comfortable to keep the false comfort around than it is to face your own shit. But the thing is at the end of the day, we all have things, right? We all have something. So same thing with you, like myself. I've experienced the struggles with so many different things, but at the same time, the more I've identified them, you realize like, okay, I why was I like you brought up like whether people use alcohol, sex, drugs, whatever, like to deal with things, right? Like you said, you brought up struggles with like alcohol. I definitely had periods in my life where I know I was drinking way too much and partying way too much, and I think it was definitely just a distraction for me. So that at times, yeah, I've always had fun with it, but at the same time, it was definitely a distraction from things I was not facing, right? And the more I have like woke up and faced my shit, it's like now I can go and have some drinks and have a good time and then be like, all right, I'm done. And like, I know that I have to handle my business. I'm gonna go do my things. Like that's not important. That's a very secondary, like it's just off to the side for go have, social hour once in a while, whatever. But it's once you heal things and you get to that place, right? I mean, but that's the thing is it's being willing to face your stuff, face your challenges, right? And all those challenges again are there, like we said, to grow us and to expand us. But everybody has them. That's the thing. Everybody has something to face. Like, one thing Alan Watts used to say, he goes, the person that comes to me and says they have nothing to work on is the person I'm afraid to be around. And I'm like, that's how I feel. If somebody comes to me and they're like, oh no, I don't struggle with anything. I'm perfect. I'm like, fuck
Dude,
you. I don't
dude,
trust you for shit. Because I'm
dude,
like, you guarantee you have some stuff.
dude, the worst people, and I'm not saying it in the way that it sounds, that's not how I mean it, but the worst people are those who think they're already perfect.
100%.
And for people like us, we can see through that because we're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're hiding something. You're
Mm-hmm.
masking something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people get skewed about burdens. You think that as humans, we're like, oh, I have this problem. If other people know about it, it'll be embarrassing. Or if
Mm-hmm.
other people know about it, I'll be fearful of what they think. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where validation comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to, like for me, for example, something that I realized is that my old struggle with alcohol, right? Dude, when I was fucking in the army, 12 pack every day, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Because I was trying to drown out my reality and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't learning. Now, I've now God has brought me to such a place where I understand that if I have the right amount, it opens me up. I go deeper. So like the thing that used to be a thorn in my side is now the thing that enhances me if I have the discipline to control said burden. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You and I've had that discussion. It's actually funny you say that. Chris Williamson has a podcast. I don't. I recommend people check out his podcast. Pretty good, Chris Williamson's podcast. It's called Modern Wisdom. Um, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. He wrote a book. He wrote a book, and he did a study, and basically he said, I think he was some kind of doctor, he was a neuroscientist maybe, but he said that he felt that alcohol was humanity's most beneficial drug. And he said, because he goes, obviously, like you said, using it appropriately. So like the way Chris said, he goes, so basically if you get kind of tipsy, it's like it shuts down the prefrontal cortex of your brain, so it allows you to now connect with people on a deeper level, right? And I'm the same way as you. Like, if I use it just right, like my heart's wide open, right? My heart's wide open. I'm like I mean, I feel like I have an open heart a lot of the time, but but I still think I have some guard there that I haven't fully identified. But and maybe that's just a part of like the human, like us creating that ego to supposedly protect us, like we start to create that from when we're younger. So maybe that's a part of that guard, right? And so like that's why a lot of times when people do ayahuasca ceremonies and things like that, it fully opens you up. um but I'm the same as you with a little bit of use of alcohol at times. It opens me up to a deeper level of an open heart and a deeper love. So I do think I think, like you said, there's these things when you know how to use them correctly. It's like I've told people, whether it's that or mushrooms or THC or whatever it is, if you know how to dose these things correctly and use them right, they actually, for a lot of people, they open you up and put you in a more heartfelt space.
Well,
Um, you,
that's what that's
it,
kind of what I realized is that burdens are actually, we think of burdens as these terrible things, but when they're actually the tools you need to develop to actually do what God calls you to do.
mhm. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And I think that
Well,
uh oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, like, what are we all called to do? We're all called, I believe, to be, not that we're not whole and complete already, but become a more expanded version of yourself, right? So it's like the things your soul came to correct, you come and you correct those things, you improve upon those things, and then you live a better quality of life, because then you have less chaos, less strife, less, those types of things, right? And then you're in turn more creative, more powerful, and then you get to go out and serve people on a deeper level. So that's like, come here, let the challenges come in. I always say, like, I pray, and when I pray, I'm like, hey, send me everything I'm not seeing about myself. Like, whatever challenges I don't see, send them to me. Like, I'm good. Like, let's do it. And honestly, it's funny how quickly oftentimes I'll get answers. I'll see things and like I told you, just realizations that we were talking off camera, realizations I've had about myself, especially in relationship aspect of things. Now not being in one and seeing things real clearly, it's like, whoa, like I started to see like these areas and these patterns in myself where I'm like, that's why you've done the same thing over and over, because you were, trying to people please, trying to get approval. We had codependency issues, like these different things that I've now thankfully released and recognized and released. But I wouldn't have never recognized them if I wouldn't have had the challenges, right? If I wouldn't have been challenged in a relationship, then I would have never seen it.
Well,
And
ultimately, that's why we go through challenges. What we fail to realize in the modern society is that we go through challenges so that we can then gain that experience and help others to lift them.
absolutely.
And that's what people misunderstand about burdens. It's like God put this in your path for a reason, dude. That's a realization I had, man, when uh, the night I got on my knees and I was like, Jesus, please forgive me for all my crap that I did. Instantly, a weight was lifted off of me. And it's like, now, when you truly surrender to God and you accept what he has put in your path, that's I think that's what it comes down to, is that we don't accept the challenges that have been in our life. We think that they're a crutch, when in reality, they're there to develop us. And so our whole mission, whatever the challenge is that you face, your mission is to help other people get through that same challenge, because now you have experience.
Absolutely. Well, like, just to touch on, you were saying it's a crutch. I think that's the unfortunate thing, right? Is that so many people, and I've done it in the past too, is claim our stories, claim our past stories, and we feed those energy, which keeps them alive, instead of saying, well, wait a minute, why did I go through this situation? Why did I go through the same situation multiple times? What am I supposed to be learning from this, right? And then you can clearly see the lesson. You become self-aware, right? Then you begin to know thyself, on a deeper level. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I see what I'm supposed to be learning from that. And then you can release it. And then you don't have to live in the past anymore. That kind of goes back to one of our episodes where we judge ourselves for our past or other people judge for our past. I'm like, the past was only there to teach you stuff. And if you could look at it and forgive yourself for it, learn the lessons you're supposed to learn, and then move on, you're done. Like you're good. The past doesn't exist anymore, you know? And then you think about just adding challenges to the future. Well, guess what? We create challenges in our head that don't even exist. I'm like, let the challenges come that are supposed to be there, that are natural. Don't think about things that don't create a story about a challenge that might happen that hasn't even happened yet. Like, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? Like focus on what you have in front of you. And guaranteed if you look at yourself deeply enough, there's going to be areas that you can hone in on and try to make some small adjustments on to be a little bit better at. Like we talked about being less reactive, being more patient, being more compassionate, whatever it is, right?
Well, I'll say it again. God is slow to anger, but great in power. That's what we're supposed to learn, is that we can do anything we set our minds to. The problem is that a lot of people get so hung up on challenges and burdens that, and not to negate the fact that it does actually become a weight, but it only becomes a weight when you allow it to. Right? It's just like, it's just like we talked about in previous episodes of stewarding your thoughts.
It's a perception.
Right. So if you perceive a challenge as like, this is the end of the world, it will be the end of the world for you. If you perceive a challenge or a burden as, okay, this is something I'm supposed to experience to develop me, to help others, how can I utilize that to manifest growth, which is ultimately what we're here for, is growth.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. Like you just said earlier, we're here to grow, and then as we grow, we get to use our story and go help others. That's I think the end goal.
Well, that's what I'm
I
saying,
think,
man. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just say, I just think we're all blinded by all the other bullshit we've been fed by, the powers that be that are like, hey, you need to focus on doing this, this, and this, which is why so many people don't even take time for self growth because they're trying to just make it and live. And I'm like, that's ultimately not why we came. But that small percentage of people that know they can keep people distracted with that are like, cool, I'll take all the resources and I'll be in power. And that's what I tell people. You got to focus on your growth. That's your biggest. If you want to say it's your biggest challenge, your biggest challenge is to figure out every single day finding time on your growth.
Well, that's something I learned, is that, I joined the military at a young age, and a lot of the military is based on fear, is based on judgment, is based on performance. And now that I've been out for a little while, I realize that's not how the world actually works, dude. And I realized that in my own journey with God and the things he let me experience, I realized that we're ultimately here to help each other. Whatever burden you've experienced is just experienced for you to get to lift someone else who doesn't realize that yet. That's all it is. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's substance. Like when I got out of the military, I was like, dang, I can definitely see how people become homeless. 100%. So what does that mean? Now I have more empathy and understanding for people who are homeless, because I get it, especially a lot of homeless veterans. But when I used to judge those people, now I understand them. And I think that's the point God wants us to be, is like, we're all one. Just because someone's dealing with a burden doesn't mean we should condemn them, which goes back to the episode about judgment.
Oh, absolutely not.
We shouldn't be condemning others or judging others, because we don't know, unless we speak to them, what their life has been like. And then the problem with burdens is that we just kind of like initially make that judgment, and like that's how that person is for the rest of their life. That's it. And that's not truth at all. What is truth? Truth is what is. Truth is what has happened, but truth is also what could happen. So why do we condemn each other so much based on our own challenges when we should be lifting others and being like, hey, I was a fucked up alcoholic. Hey, I struggled with lust. Hey, I struggled with being angry, or I struggled with this. Because we're in a system that's designed to keep us in fear and to judge others. Because if you think about it, school, work, whatever, it's all a
Religion,
system to be like, oh, how's your performance? Oh, your performance isn't as good as this person's. You're a piece of crap. When
all of
that's
it.
not true.
Think about it from a child, from childhood, right? It's, are you a good boy or a bad boy? You were bad, so I'm gonna shame you. You know, you're gonna feel fear if I'm gonna spank you. You're gonna feel guilt. And then so from a child, you already start learning that. Then it goes into school systems do it, religion does it, government does it, all of them. It's all fear, shame, and guilt. All of it. You know? What is, I mean, like the schools will tell you, like you said, they base everything on whether you're a good student, do you show up, do you do well on tests? Religion tells you if you fucking make a mistake that you're going to hell and you're gonna fucking be burning. It's like, dude, what are you fucking talking about, people? Like
Well,
that is not truth at all. None of it.
that's why uh I would classify myself as a Christian, but not in the traditional known sense. Okay. Because when you're talking about, if you talk about Jesus, if you actually look into what he was doing, he's actually against standardized religions. He was like, just follow me.
Jesus wouldn't know what a Christian is because he wasn't religious. Jesus was teaching Christ consciousness, like the fact that
Yeah.
we all have so much power and we can create and we can heal and we have this power with this love that we have in us. That's what he was trying to teach.
You know,
If Jesus was here right now and somebody said, "Are you a Christian?" He'd probably say, "What the fuck is that?" You know what I
well,
mean?
that's what I'm trying to say is, did you know the term Christian was a derogatory term because you
I didn't.
followed his teachings? So so that's why, like, when I started to get into this and started to learn more, is I had the thought, I'm like, I've heard, like, quote unquote, chosen ones never go to church, because most people who go to church, they fuck up the rest of the week and they go to church on Sunday and they're like, all is forgiven. No, no. If you're being a piece of crap for 6 days out of the week, going to church isn't going to fix you, buddy.
Hmm.
But another thing I learned is that what you said about religion, what bothers me, and that's like, we're talking about burdens, but like going to hell, making a mistake, fucking up, that's a part of life.
We all do it.
But the creator doesn't judge us ultimately based on a mistake that we made. If we had a God that did that, we'd all be dead.
No, humans are the ones that judge. Like I said, the rest of nature doesn't judge. Again, I've said it, I think, on one of the past episodes recently, where I said, an oak tree doesn't wake up and be like, I was a shitty oak tree. Or it doesn't look at the pine tree and be like, you're fucking ugly. Like, it just doesn't do that. Humans are the only ones that sit around and judge ourselves at each other, and we shouldn't be. That's for what? How is that benefiting anybody? It's not.
Well, what I will say is that there are certain things that God has ordained in our lives, right? If we go against that will, then God's going to be like, what are you doing? He's going to smack you around. Like when I was being an alcoholic piece of crap, I learned the hard way, dude. I was like, all right, I guess I'll learn. I was humbled. I'll say that. I was humbled because, just like burdens, you have other blessings in your life that God has given you, these blessings, but it's us that fucks it up.
Hmm.
We're just like, because we can't get out of our own way, because we're so attached to the burden, or we feel like we don't deserve it, or we feel like uh we're too far gone, and we're never too far gone, because
Hmm.
we're all God's children, which is why burdens, people have a skewed vision of it. It's not there to condemn you. It's there to develop you.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that bothered me about you remember when I was telling you about how I was looking into being a priest and all that stuff?
Mm.
How there's so many fucking rules. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, looking at this information, I'm like, I didn't find God in the church.
Mm-hmm.
I found God in the pit of my own fucking misery, dude. In my own burdens, I found God. You know what I mean? And going back to the religion thing, I was like, I don't think God would give a shit about the denomination. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Why are you classifying yourself in this little category? Like, oh, I'm Protestant, or I'm Catholic, or I'm Muslim, or whatever. Do you think God cares about that?
Exactly.
But it goes back to challenges. The challenge is to see through all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's to lift the veil, man. To lift the veil and be able to see the truth. You know, I think honestly, what I think about sometimes, I think what some people use religion for, and I'm not saying that religion's all bad because I do think there's some stuff in it that's good. But I think what some people use it for is a way to try to help discipline themselves. But what I want everybody to understand is that we can all literally discipline ourselves. Like it takes consistent focus and a disciplined mind, and then you can discipline yourself in life to make decisions that don't harm you and others. Does it take consistent practice every day? Absolutely. Right. So when the challenges come, what is it trying to teach you about yourself? Identify that thing and then consistently discipline yourself to work on shifting that behavior, that act, that whatever. And you don't need to go to a church and have somebody tell you that you're a shitty person. You don't need to have a family member tell you you're a shitty person. You can literally just look at yourself and be like, I have this area that I can do some work on. And this challenge that I'm facing, this consistent challenge, this pattern that I have is showing me what I have to work on.
Dude,
Right.
that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's a daily work. Daily. Not that, oh, I went to church on Sunday, I'm good. No. Every single day that you have breath in your lungs is a chance for you to do better.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean like, oh, I ran 4 miles yesterday, today I'm going to run 5.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about is spiritual and self-awareness. Whatever crap you're dealing with, guess what? It's still going to be there tomorrow. So you got to get up and work through it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be like, oh, today's Monday, my life sucks, I got to go to work, screw this. You have to get up and do it anyway. You have to do the hard, challenging things. That's the only way you develop, is through suffering in a way. Because if, just like we said, if you don't experience, like, everything you're experiencing, whether you realize it or not, is what God is intending for your life to develop you into who he has written for you to become. And if you fail to become self-aware, if you fail to be like, you know what, today I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to work out, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to be, when I feel anger, I'm going to not allow it to project upon others. Self-mastery. That's ultimately what we're here for. Alignment with God, self-mastery, and lifting others.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I went on a little tangent there for a second.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
It just drives me nuts, man, because people like you and me,
I think you could drop the mic right there, dude, and be fucking done, you know?
It's just, yeah. Well, we're about to close this out, but we talk about this all the time. For people like you and me, it's kind of ironic because we can see through these things because we've experienced certain things, and we're at a level in our life where we're like, okay, well, this is all nonsense. The problem is when you run into people who don't understand that yet. And
but remember, everybody's at their own place, right? And they're
exactly.
on the journey. They all have the ability. That's why I tell people, everybody, we all have the same. I mean, we all have the same ability to see things. Everybody has different perspective on life. We all can see through the bullshit. We all have the ability to create, the ability to co-create. We all have this power within us, but it's just how far how far in the programming are you, and how long have you been programming? Because then you have to become awake, right? And then start the reprogramming process, and then start to see the truth about this life. Um, but we're all still learning all the time, like you and I. I mean, I'm still learning shit every day, and I love it. I think it's great because it's these realizations make me excited, you know. So
Well, that's what excites me is like just like we were talking about earlier with when people are portraying a perfect life, it's bullshit. It's like, bro, you don't know everything. None of us know everything.
exactly.
The Bible literally says, lean not on your own understanding.
Hmm.
Because you're going to have stuff that happens in your life where you're going to be like, why me? But you have to push through it anyway. Your job is to endure
Hmm.
so that you do develop. If you can't endure through challenges, then just like we talked about, I think off camera, in a way, God tests you to see what you can handle so
Hmm.
that he can trust you with more. That's how
Absolutely.
life works.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it, man. Well, I think just a little closing thought is just to tell people the way tell everybody the way I look at things as far as challenges coming in life is just remember, try to remind yourself and use the mantra that I use, everything is working out perfectly for me. And I always tell myself, like, what is this challenge showing me? What about myself? What about me am I missing? What about me am I not seeing? Why am I inviting this into my life? And of course, there's going to be things that you're not inviting into your life, like someone passing or whatever the case is, but even that, right? Even like someone dying, say unexpectedly. I tell people, what can you look at with that? Like that, oh, life is not infinite. It's finite, right? Like this human experience, the soul is infinite. The human experience finite. So like I tell people, you don't know how long you're going to be here. So to me, if you have a unexpected death, something you have zero control over, what is that showing me? Shit, maybe I need to enjoy life a little bit more every day and not take life so seriously. Maybe I need to find more joy in each moment of each day, right? So everything that comes to you is trying to show you something that can grow you to live a better experience here. And then, like we said earlier, then you get to go and share that with others. So use mantras, change your perspective, change your mindset. I promise you, this life is trying to work for you and it's trying to give you a beautiful experience. But you are going to have to go through some challenging things to get to the other side and get to that beauty.
Well, I agree with you. And I'll close it out with this is that we as humans have a unique existence from any other being in this realm or the next. What I've learned is that, you know, if you go to biblical stuff, you have angels, you have demons, you have God, you have Jesus, right?
Mhm.
Other than Jesus, right? We're the only creature that has to deal with the conflicts of the flesh, which is interesting that you just brought that up because I feel like we are more challenged in a way because of our quote unquote flesh. We have to deal with challenges, hunger, sex, thirst. The key is to learn how to align yourself with God with all of that, which is why I say we have a unique existence. Because when I think about like angels, they don't worry about food and all that crap. Demons, they don't worry about, they know how to exploit it.
Well,
It's up
our
to us.
soul doesn't worry about those things. Our soul isn't
That's what I'm saying. Like we have to figure
struggling.
out how to
It's
look
the human.
past
It's just self mastery, right? It's self mastery.
it.
So what does that take? Again, like I said earlier, consistent discipline every single day, right? So it's not, and you don't push things away because if you push things away, they're going to come back harder, right? But you can sit with a thought and be like, that's interesting. Why am I lusting right now? Like, where is this actually coming from, right? Why
Mhm.
am I craving that thing so much right now? What inside of me is really doing that, right? And you can kind of sit with it and evaluate it. Um, but what I've noticed is that these things, if you are aware of them, they'll begin to fall away, right? You won't want to do them as much. You won't need them as much. You won't care as much, and that those things become less and less important. And it's not that you won't want the connection or these different things, but the that deep desire for them just kind of fades. So if you just sit
Well,
with them, you don't try to fight them.
that's a very good point because a lot of people I've been talking to or seeing like social media posts about recently. It makes me think, why do we all yearn for a home that we can't find? Because it's not in this realm.
This isn't our home.
We all belong with the creator, God.
This is a stop, not a stay, man.
So
It's a stop, not a stay.
that's a very good point, man, is that uh it's almost like we're sent here as, like we talked about before, like a learning ground. Like, hey, you chose to come here, or I chose you to come here in this time right now. So do with it what you will. But when you align yourself with God, even with all your burdens, all your struggles, if you align yourself with God, you'll find the answer.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Episode 67.
67.
I mean, sorry, 37.
I'm like,
I
wow, I'm like, we jumped, huh? I was like, sweet.
sorry, I doubled it.
Can't wait
But
till we're like at 670,
we will be very soon.
Absolutely.
But if you have any comments or ideas or thoughts on this episode, please comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe, share, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Follow us on social media as well, folks. Just hopefully we can get as much message out to as many people as we can. That's really our goal with this, is to try to help people kind of expand their view and their vision on this life, and hopefully in turn make your life a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit easier. So we love you guys.